Hey everybody, this is JP Firepledge bringing you guys another part of Spyro. It's probably going to be one of our final parts actually. As you can see, we are hanging out in Gnasty's world right now. So the last time we went through Dreamweavers, and now we're in the final world of this game, which is Gnasty. So, see, we got 3 of the big dragon heads, and then we got a little portal over there, and we got a dragon jangling at us. We'll go ahead and pick up the dragon so he can explain this world to us.
Hey, didn't I already free you?
You're in Gnasty's world now, Spyro. And you are the dragon that must defeat him.
Bring him on! I'm ready!
Reach the exit in each of Gnasty's lands. Then you can challenge the Gnorc himself.
As you can see, our 75th dragon there is actually the dragon from the very beginning of the game that taught us about Sparks. You can see he's holding the exact same picture of Sparks as well. Nice little Easter egg there. So, we'll collect all the treasure real quick, but as you'll notice, it's a really small home world. There's really not that much we can do right off the bat here. We already collected all the treasure, as you can see. The rest of the treasure will reveal itself as we complete the worlds. So after we complete this one, the mouth will open up for this one, and the mouth will open up this one, will open up for Gnasty, and then it'll open up for the very last secret level. So, just to clear real quick, we only have one skill point in this entire world, and that's that we defeat Gnasty Gnorc with absolutely no damage to us. So, once we get to that part, I'll go through it a bit more, but we'll probably do in our little Sparks abuse where we come in with no Sparks, just to make sure we don't miss it. We're going to go into Gnorc Cove now. It's our first level. Alright, so this is Gnorc Cove. This is, as you can see, we have kind of an industrial sort of shipping warehouse sort of vibe to this area. And it's kind of indicative to actually a lot of Gnasty's areas too. We have a very, Gnasty, like in the very beginning of the game, a lot of the dragons, as you can tell, are more naturalistic. Whereas Gnasty is kind of represented by a lot of technology as being like his main way of combating the dragon threat, I would say, for him. Because as we can tell, Gnasty considers the dragons a great threat to at this point, with Spyro going around and unlocking all the dragons and making sure that he really can't, he has to put up every precaution possible at this point. Sure that Spyro just can't get to him. So we'll start seeing a lot more Gnorcs. Right now we're mostly seeing a lot of Gnorcs that don't really like impose a lot of threat. They're just kind of, they honestly just look like they're working their 9-to-5s, to be real. Which doesn't say anything bad necessarily about Spyro. They are still the Gnorcs, but I mean they are kind of just hanging out. So let y'all think about that. Just kidding, but for real though, Spyro will be harmed by these enemies very significantly. They burn TNT, you get collapsed by the little silver rolling barrels. We're going to collect all the treasure, and we actually have I haven't really been discussing achievements too much, but I'll talk about it once the dragon speaks.
Keep up the good work, Spyro. I expect Gnasty's really starting to worry about you.
I'd be shaking in my Gnorc boots if I were him.
Again, actually, as you notice, it's a bit easier to notice in the remaster than in the original because you had to rely more on the names to let you know who the dragons were. We actually saw that dragon, I believe it was in Dreamweavers. I think he was the one over by Lofty Castle. So we're getting kind of a rehash of some of the dragons that we've gotten in the past. That's just a little Easter egg for those of us who have been, and those of y'all who have been kind of paying attention to the whole thing. You might recognize some of these, and if you didn't, then I'll let you know anyway, as I just did. You see, I'm being kind of cautious around these rats. Now, it's either this level or the next one, but there's actually an achievement that you can get for going through this whole level without killing any of the rats. Not something that you necessarily need to get if you're not really into achievements or anything like that. It's perfectly fine. You can finish the game without them. And most of what we're doing right here is getting skill points and things anyway. They're more of a natural game progression. Achievements require us to do some odd things. I had touched on this in the last part, but I wanted to just go ahead and reiterate myself. Oh, by the way, if I didn't, I forgot. I'm JP Firepledge again, just FYI. I sometimes forget to say who I am in the recording sections, so I wanted to make sure. I talked in the last part, and in the original bit, I anticipated us going for all the achievements in this playthrough. I looked through the achievement list the other day, and this is on me for not looking beforehand before saying we were going to do it, but I noticed the achievements actually require us to do some very awkward, kind of not really great let's playing tasks. For an example, like in this one, I'd have to go through the whole level without actually hitting any of the rats, which are our main source of health. So if I took a hit or something like that, we wouldn't actually be able to heal it. And also, with Gnasty, is the one that involves Gnasty, I'll go ahead and talk about just real quick. That requires Gnasty to pass the circuit that will chase him around when we see him 5 times, which would be around about, I think, 7 minutes of just me chasing Gnasty in a circle. So I think what I'm going to do instead is, I'm not going to ditch the idea completely. I'm going to make a separate video that you guys can watch that will be completely focused around the achievements only. We'll do more of an achievement guide. I have another account set up that I want to go through, and I have another account set up on my PlayStation that I want to go through and do trophies only with you guys potentially. Especially for a game like this, I want you to. I know that part of the achievement process is seeing the achievement, and I've had achievements turned off throughout this playthrough, so it doesn't detract from the 100% nature of the game we're doing. So I'll go through again and play through the game all over again and do an achievements only run and make sure I get those on footage for you guys, but I'll probably do that on stream as well, but that'll be longer recording sessions, and it'll probably come out a little bit later than the current release schedule, so just bear in mind for that. I haven't forgotten about them, and if you got to this part, you're probably invested at this point, so I wanted to let y'all know. So let's go ahead and dive our dragon, and thanks for listening to me ramble about that.
Wow, I never thought I'd be rescued, especially by such a little dragon. What I mean is, I always believed in you, Spyro.
You gotta believe.
And I just wanted to make a note actually about that that dialogue is Thomas is actually, if we remember also, they're reusing a lot of dragons from the very beginning, which I'm not sure if they intended to, at least with the dialogue. Because the one in the main world, or Gnasty, made reference that we had already saved him, but that one acts as though he's never seen us before, which I always found was kind of funny, because he's actually the dragon that's right outside Town Square. You can recognize him from his little loot that he carries around. He's the one who talked about falling into prehistoric glaciers. I haven't really talked too much about the levels mechanics because this is a pretty straightforward one, but as you can see, we've got a new mechanic going around with this barrel thing that we've been hitting, and the enemies that are large metal enemies, and we've been hitting this barrel into them. It's a mechanic that's actually I think it's used a bit in Spyro 2, if I remember correctly, but here it's only used in this one level, so nice little change of pace. It's kind of makes the enemies a bit interesting as well, because otherwise they would just be standard Norks. They're just kind of big, mean, they don't like to hang out with Spyro, so. Go and grab our key. As you can see, that was the way to the exit. I just wanted to go ahead and clean it out. Go over here, this will be our last section. We'll be safe from the Norks here. And we'll just circumvent these guys a little bit. Swing the big dude. We will get ourselves our chest. And that should be 400. Yep, perfect. That's level complete. And we already know which way the ending is. And actually, in some of these parts, I never talked about this part in particular. In Dreamweavers, y'all saw me do this. I'll talk about when we get back, actually. So what we'll do, we'll go ahead and snag this really packed up chest. See, there's 200 gems in Gnasty's world at least, and we just got about 75 at least from that chest, I think. So we'll go ahead and head into Twilight Arbor. As you can see here, we started getting more enemies pop up. You can see that they're starting to really throw the kitchen sink at Spyro with all the enemies. They have big artillery, they have... This guy has grenades or barrels that he's throwing at us. I'll let this guy shoot for a second so you can see what he does. These enemies are actually a bit toned down from the original, so in the original they wouldn't shoot these like paint bullets or anything like that. The enemies in these were actually, these guys especially, they were full on like commando mode looking enemies. They would throw grenades, they looked very Rambo-esque, I would say. I want to show you guys real quick, if I can. I believe that there's one in the entry port in this level, just so you all can keep your eye out for them if you're going through your own playthrough. But I'll call it out once I see it. But there's an achievement in this level as well. And like I said a minute ago, we'll be going for achievements in a separate part. But I just want, there you go. So you see these gears up here? You can flame these gears. You see it disappears. I'll show you in a second. Disappears. If you can collect all of, I believe it's 5 gears in this level, they're hidden throughout, then you'll get an achievement. But like I said in the earlier bit, we will go through that in the achievement part. So keep an eye out for that when I post that. I'll announce it on Twitter and stuff like that, so y'all can hop on over when I do. I didn't say this enough in the original parts, but anybody who's been watching this, I definitely really appreciate it. If you want to leave a comment or anything like that, say hey, I'll reply. Any comments that are like actual comments, I normally respond to. I sometimes get a couple here and there that are just like accounts trying to troll you or trying to take your videos, essentially, which there are a couple out there that target smaller people, and I normally just hide those so that no one gets tricked by them or anything. But let's go ahead and get our next dragon.
Thank you for rescuing me.
Okay. I'm gonna count that. I'm looking at the jury. The jury says, yeah, that would be a thank you for releasing me. And again, as you can see, we actually, a lot of you guys have probably realized that they're using a lot of recycled dragons. I think every dragon in this whole entire world may be recycled from an earlier part. This Cosmos was one of the first ones we saw in, I believe it was Magic Crafters. I think he was actually the first dragon we rescued. And a lot of these are all going towards, and they're the dragons we first rescued from the worlds, which is a nice little callback. It's escaping me real quick if that actually was the case in Spyro 1, and if I just am not remembering it correctly. But I think it may be a new addition into this game, just for like a little a treat for anybody who's looking around and paying attention. Explain something real quick before we go to the supercharge you can see right here. This little ramp right here will actually go up or down, depending on which orientation we have this lever. What we'll do, we're going to go down first, just because that one's the easier one. It has less stuff down there. And I'm actually going to save this dragon for later, so that we can get we don't have to have the enemies respawn on us or anything. Alright, so we'll go ahead and start our supercharge. As you guys remember, there was a chest at the very, very end of this path. That's what we're going for. Alright, here we go. Got it. And the ferry, got our checkpoint. And now what we'll do is on the way back, we're going to hit the railing, or we're going to hit the little spinner, and we are going to go up this time. Now, I'll go ahead and get the dragon for this part.
Be on the lookout for Nork Commandos, Spyro.
They better be on the lookout for me.
You guys don't need me to say it again, but there you go. Another reused dragon. That's Cletus. He's the one who was right outside of Misty Bog, the one who said that it used to be such a nice swamp. Oh, took a hit there. No big deal. We have plenty of rats down there. And so we're all the way up here now. If you really want to get, if you want to be a hotshot, you can actually jump out of this top level and run all the way and hit that chest. But I want to make sure we actually get everything on our first try if we can. So I'm gonna not go for it. And so you want to check and make sure that there's no gems on these little sides right here. As you can see, there are none. You can also look for some of the gears while you're up here as well. I believe that there's a couple. There may be one in this general area as well. So we'll fly over here. That's kind of why you want the dragon, just so you can respawn and get that. Oh, as you can see, we actually just found a gear too. I'll go ahead and nab it just for anybody who's going through. I think I remembered one of them actually got kind of lost on me, so if you're looking for the last one and I got one of the two for you, then there you go. Otherwise, definitely just check back for the other part, where I do the achievements and such. So we don't need this anymore, so we'll go ahead and lower it. And I think that's it for the supercharge, because this turn is a little too hard for us if I remember correctly. Take out the small guys. And we're gonna need to grab some rats real quick. Keep our health high. You can see these enemies are all ranged as well, which is a little detriment to Spyro. Oh, guess we used up all our rats. It's no worries. I think we have about 30 lives, so we should be okay. No more sparks. Playing fast and loose now. But for those of you who are going for the gears, there's one right there. Just keep an eye out. A lot of times they're hiding these in shadows and stuff like that, so I think you have to get them all in one life, so it's definitely, you can definitely save yourself a dragon. I think there may be one at the very end if I remember correctly. Save yourself a dragon for the very end. And come back through when you have no enemies, so you don't have any fear of dying. See, we're playing pretty fast and loose right now. And that's it. I think there may be one more enemy, I can't remember, but I think we may have cleared it out. It was a little close. I don't normally like to play it that close without a sparks when we don't have to, but if this is the last bit, yep. This actually sets us up perfectly to go into Gnasty's world, where we didn't want sparks anyway. Because I'll explain that when we get out. Right. We'll drop. You see Gnasty's world has opened up. No new dragons or anything. Hit our fairy friend. Go ahead and nab this chest. That's 200 out of 200 for Gnasty. So, well, we don't actually get them complete, even though we don't see any dragons or anything like that. We got all our gems. See that once we're done. So, I'm going to go ahead and explain Gnasty World real quick before we fight him. How I'm going to do it. Gnasty's World is, what I just thought about, I'm actually going to grab one Sparks so that when we're going around, that we can collect all the treasure in the early portions. What I'll probably do is, since we have to get a perfect on Gnasty, I'll keep green sparks, but if I die to Gnasty, I'll just go ahead and jump into a pit and make sure that we get the perfect for the whole world, or if it doesn't trigger, I'll exit and re-enter the world. I might even do actually doing that to ensure we don't trigger it by accident. But Gnasty's world, as you'll see, is a mixture of a thief chasing and a chasing Gnasty, and then a final gambit or a final gauntlet to try and catch Gnasty Nork. If you guys don't hear me talk during it, it's probably because I had to reset it. I'll just reset it from this position more than likely. I wanted to go ahead and knock that out so that when we're going through, if I'm offering commentary and it's like I'm dying, that we can have that preface to begin with. So, also, I won't talk through the cutscenes towards the end, and we will trigger the last thing. Since we have 100% in the game real quick, I'll go ahead and show you guys. We actually have 100% in every other world. So we should be able to open this last portal once we finish Gnasty Nork 100. So go ahead and go for it. Go for that no-hit Gnasty. Alright, there's Gnasty himself. So Gnasty is going to start firing beams of crystal energy at us the second we get in here, as he knows Spyro is a big threat to him, considering he made it all the way here and is now sitting right outside of his house. So what we need to do first is snag all the key thieves. We got that one really quick actually, which is really nice. So far no hits. We'll run through here nice and slow, get all the treasure. We don't want to unlock any. We don't want to miss any treasure and have to run back through here after beating Gnasty already. We want to get everything in the first try if we can. So what we need to do in this part, this key actually won't unlock Gnasty. This key will unlock second thief. And you want to make sure you move pretty quick because Gnasty can't hit you. Got this thief. Like I said, we really don't want to die in this part, so just take it slow if you have to. You can always catch the thieves on the upslopes here, like that. So we'll make one more round because I think I missed one piece of treasure, and then we will go and face off against the Nork himself. Yep, there we go. Missed a couple of treasure chests when I was trying to catch up to the thief. All right, so let's get right up in Gnasty's grill. And Gnasty is a bit of a coward, as you'll see. He is going to start immediately running away from us. Someone who talks such a big game, you'd think he didn't want to... You'd think he wanted to square up against us, but I guess not. What we're going to do is we're going to snag all the treasure the first time around. As you can see, a lot of these treasure chests are hard to get when you're trying to actively chase somebody down. And then we will get Gnasty on the second loop. He runs away before we get a chance to, and we will go ahead and try and catch him. And Gnasty holds a little bit of treasure inside of him, is why we haven't gotten the 100% yet. And our current goal right now is we just have to beat Gnasty over to his platform, or at least get there within the time it would take him to kind of pose up and start yelling at us. We gotta get a flame on him. And then we'll hit into Gnasty's final gauntlet, where he'll try and outrun us. So we got our 125 piece from that. Now we will go in here. We'll have to chase Gnasty as he jumps through this final little area. We're actually a lot faster than original Spyro would have been in this area because of our charge jumps and such. Alright. Got it. Skill point acquired. There's Gnasty.
You're toast, Nork. Sorry it took so long. Almost forgot about you guys.
What about Gnasty Gnork?
Gnasty Nork is toast.
So now there's order again in the Dragon Kingdom?
Well, mostly. I've still got some treasure to find.
What will you do next?
I'd say the sky's the limit.
Okay, everybody. So I went ahead and skipped the cutscenes there just because I want us to go ahead and get finished up with the game as soon as we possibly can. I'll really encourage you guys to go and actually watch the credits just to make sure that you give credits to guys who worked on it, and make sure you'll also give some love to the Insomniac crew too on their new games like Spiderman and the new Ratchet games and such like that, because they kind of laid the groundwork and really came up with the idea for these games. And Toys for Bob did a good job with the remake, and we'll want to try and support them too. I think they're working on the new Crash game that might be coming out as well. So, as we saw, we actually have only 75% of Nork Nexus, which we have this one dragon left. We had Nork Cove 100%, Twilight Arbor 100%, and Gnasty Nork 100%. We have all the skill points at this point. So we have the one dragon, and then we have the one dragon head, and we will be done with the game, except for the achievements, which will be in the second part.
Gnasty's ancient history now. So, what's in there?
I believe this is Gnasty's treasure hoard, but the gate will only open if you have found everything in the Dragon Kingdom. Come back when you have reached 100%.
And we have 100% with that. I'll show you all real quick, just so you get the 100%. So we have 100% here, 100%, 100%, 100%, 100%, and up in the top right there you can see all 12,000 treasure and 80 dragons like they said at the beginning. We actually finished a nice 40 on our lives as well, and got all 12 dragon eggs way before. So this is Gnasty's loot. I'll explain it when we get more into it. Alright, so something special about Gnasty's loot is that Spyro, this is one of the parts I had talked about early on in the game, that there are multiple flying sections and there's one at the very end of the game. Gnasty's loot is a bit of a send-off for anyone who has been playing the game and got the 100%. It's basically a place where you're going to collect as much treasure as you could potentially think. I think it almost is the full amount of some worlds. See, everything in here is either a pink or gold or some sort of variant of that color. And Spyro can permanently fly in this area. See, we're not gliding, we're just flying. We start out really low, and then eventually we can, as we unlock our higher points that we can get on, we can actually fly all the way up to the very tip top of the area. So, it gives us a bit of something to work towards. So the thieves in this area drop chests, or drop chest keys, but they're not actually for chests. So we'll try and collect as many thieves as we possibly can while finishing up the area's different objectives. But as you can see, Spyro can't really fly that high yet. What we can do though is get over to this key chest, or this key. If we go up a little higher, we'll find another door that requires a key, but now we're up at a higher vantage point, so now we can fly a little bit higher. And that's the main idea of this level. It's kind of a nice little send-off to the player who's been playing the whole time, like I said. It's a good chance for you to just get as much loot as possible, even though you're towards the end of the game anyway, so it's sort of just for fun at this point. You can chase down some last-minute thieves and stuff like that, do a little flying section. Grab this guy. He's dodging me. He got the moves. Alright, we got him. And as you can see, we already have 500 treasure. And that's way more than we would have had at any other point in the game right now. Most levels only have about 500 treasure maximum. So, definitely a really cool area and a nice little send-off. Most areas in most Spyro games actually end up having this sort of end-level sort of section. You can see also we unleashed a flying thief. Will give us a key once we get over to him. He's gonna zoom around a little bit. But now we can get all the way up here. So we'll get the thief first, just because we want to make sure we get all that, and then we'll start unlocking more of the keys. Sorry, we'll start unlocking more of the doors. Oh, glitching out on us, but kind of follows a strict path, so try and hedge him off if we can. Head him off if we can. I think we got it. No! I get right up on him. Got him. Perfect. So we can get all the way up here. But what we'll do first is we'll snag the firework over here. And the firework over far. This area is non-hostile except for the lava, so feel free to take your time as much as you need to get every little last thing that you could want in this area. And then, as you'll notice, once we actually finish this part, we'll have been at more than 100%, so we'll see that once we're done. So this is actually 120% run. one more chest, or one more, I keep calling them chests, but one more door we need to unlock. That'll be when we get this last thief. Ooh, not into the lava. Don't want that. And there's not too much to commentate on in this area, just kind of this last little send-off, little fun part for everybody. But definitely been a fun game. I'd love to hear what you guys think of it, watching through it, us getting the 120. And if you guys have any suggestions for any other games you'd like to see me go through. I'm not opposed to actually going through and just doing 100% in some games. A lot of the games that I go through I actually end up 100%ing. And so, nothing really up here at this part. This unlocks our final tier of gliding, I'd call it. Now we can fly up all the way to the top. Which also allows us to get up to the final area of Gnasty's loot, here by the return home. We don't want to return home quite yet. As you can see, there's a door behind there. Let's snag this last treasure box, and then head our way on over there. So I believe that ends us with, I think it's about 950 treasure? Yep. And so we'll skip the return home. Now it's tempting. Yeah, follow the purple. And we'll find Gnasty's little shrine to himself and all the love letters that he's received. You got these paintings on the wall, one with all the worlds, I believe. Knowledge is the power to turn dragons to crystal. Patience is for dragons. Imagination rhymes with devastation. So let's go ahead and finish off this with a bang. And so we're going to go from having 1150 treasure, see where we end up with all this purple. Give me the money, give me the money. Purple, purple, purple. It's 2,000. We got almost like 900 there, it seemed like about 800 and something. And we will jump through this return home portal and see the final cutscene, but just before we do, I'm going to go ahead and show y'all. We got 120% of the game total up there in the top right in 4 hours and 7 minutes altogether. Pretty good run, 100%, or 120% really. We got all of the skill points. We got all the art as well, so I would suggest you guys just go online and check that out. I can flip through it in the achievements section if I have any comments asking me to, otherwise I'll skip it. It's all online anyway. So, there we go. Let's go ahead and head on back.
Spyro the Dragon, you defeated Gnasty Ganor, collected the dragon eggs, saved all the dragons, and recovered every bit of treasure in the Dragon Kingdom. How do you feel?
I feel fired up, Bob. And I'm happy for the dragon world, of course. I certainly wouldn't want to spend the rest of my dragon days butting heads with Gnasty Gnorc and his weird minions.
What's a minion?
Never mind. You know what they say. For every good battle, you need a good adversary. And I felt that Gnasty, in spite of his misguided nature, was a worthy opponent. Uh-oh. Here we go again!
Alright, you guys. Here we are, back where everything began, back where our adventure started, the same spot that we began in. So, as I had seen, I'll show it again real quick. We got 120% of the game, 4 hours and 7 minutes, almost 4 hours and 8 minutes exactly. So, that's it. That's 120% Spyro run, and all the skill points that you could ask for. Like I said, I'll be doing an achievements only run. You can come join me over at Twitch at JP Firepledge. I'll probably be doing those all in one sitting if I can, and doing all the achievements possible. It's going to take a bit more editing than this one did, even though we did a pretty good amount of editing in this as well for like all the fun little deaths that I had. But I appreciate you guys who came out on Twitch and said hey. I appreciate anybody watching the video, and any likes or any subscribes or anything you guys want to drop on it, definitely feel free to. Don't feel obligated. I don't want you to feel like you have to, but definitely helps out. And drop me a comment if you guys have something that you'd like to watch me play in the future. Like I've said, I'm down to 100% games as long as they're kind of like fun or something like that, and it's not just a slog. and I hope you guys have a great day. Again, it's a JP Fire Pledge, and I'll be signing off for the second to last time on Spyro 1. Alright, I'll see y'all later. Bye.